Swimming Australia has issued an unreserved apology for the sport's treatment of women and girls. It's also released 46 recommendations from a report commissioned following explosive allegations of abuse and misconduct. They include female coaching quotas, an end to skinfold tests and a whistleblower policy. And Olympic swimming great Cate Campbell joins us now. Kate, what do you make of Swimming Australia's apology?
I think it's really great that these recommendations have been made public and how transparent everything has been. And I think that more than anything, we are seeing a reckoning in society that the treatment of women and girls in the past hasn't been good enough, and a commitment to doing better. And I really feel that today that's what this apology and the releasing of the recommendations is about.
Kate, Swimming Australia's president told us earlier that some parts of this report were like reading chapters of his childhood. What's been your experience growing up as a swimmer in that environment?
Yeah, it can be quite confronting growing up as a swimmer because you are going through a lot of particularly physiological changes, and you're doing it in bathers, and it can be quite challenging and quite confronting. And so I think that giving people tools and a good framework to work around is going to make that transition period easier for the athletes, but then also for the coaches.
Well, Kate, you talk about, challenging and confronting. You and your sister have actually written about how your weight was controlled and talked about by coaches and training staff previously. Do those kind of people still work there?
Yeah, it's been really interesting. I've been involved in the sport for 16, 17 years now. And I think that over the period of time, I've seen a real shift in that culture. And when I did start, there was a real emphasis on skinniest is best. But we've seen that begin to transition away for a lot of coaches, and it's all about performance. And the people who, might have made some comments and made me feel uncomfortable are no longer in swimming, or if they are, they have moved and transitioned and grown. And I think that we need to give people the opportunity to grow and to change their views and get better, because as a society, things that were acceptable 15 years ago are not acceptable now.
It's extraordinary really looking, from the outside, looking in, that Swimming Australia, it's had such amazing swimming success despite this seriously toxic culture. So if we change that culture, what sort of impact will that possibly have on performances down the track?
Well, firstly, I think that if Swimming Australia had a toxic culture for women and girls, that we wouldn't have the success that we have. 8 of the 9 gold medals that Australia won at the Tokyo Olympic Games were won by females or female relay teams. And you just couldn't have that if the culture around women and girls was not supportive and welcoming. So if this is the standard now, if we can continue to put good support frameworks and networks around women, it's exciting to see what the future of swimming holds.
Kate, I'm just a little bit confused. I'm wondering if you can clarify something for me. When we were talking to Kieran, he was saying these were not historic cases. These cases that were brought forward by the people who participated in the review are current. They're not historic. And they don't really sell Swimming Australia's culture in a great light.
I think that a lot of swimmers have been around a long time and things have changed. And I can only speak to my experience, and I've seen a lot of change in the swimming culture over the years. I have seen attitudes and views change as I think society's attitudes and views have changed. And I can't speak to other people's experience. And what's really challenging about swimming is that what happens in clubland, so away from Swimming Australia itself, there isn't a lot of interaction between clubs and Swimming Australia, and so there's not a lot of insight into what goes on in smaller programs around the country. So that's where a really challenging issue lies, and something that needs to be fixed and I think will be addressed. But my experience, having been in the sport for over a decade and a half, is that I have seen a culture shift and a culture change, and I was really, really proud to be a part of that team that competed over in Tokyo. And I just don't think that we could have got the results that we would have got if the culture was toxic, and I don't think that many people on that team would have had a toxic experience.
Kate, I know you're enjoying a day at the tennis. Thanks for taking time out for us.
Thanks so much.